Hi, I'm Midge Shoemaker, and this is day 10 of my doing 100 days of YouTube videos and focusing on my writing. So, yay, I made it to day 10. What is that, 1/10 of the way through my 100 days? Yes, I like my countdown still. It helps me to kind of stay focused and to know that there is an end. The light at the end of the tunnel, there is an end. Um, doesn't mean that I'm going to stop writing at the end of 100 days. It just means that it will help me to hopefully be in the habit of writing. And I will continue to learn from my writing, just like I continue to learn from my gratitude that I completed 100 days of doing. It just means that my focus is more on my writing right now, which I'm grateful for. And today I was realizing how much my focus is on my writing. Today it was good, but it was a little frustrating because I was having a really hard time. Not with writing. I had a great time writing. To be perfectly honest, I wrote 3 chapters tonight, and I have the ideas already copied and pasted for what I want to rewrite for chapter 12. So chapter 9, 10, and 11 are done. My problem was that I didn't get up and take breaks. Like, I'm sitting there typing. I'm like, I should take a break. I should take a break. And I'm like, oh, new idea, new idea. Typing, 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 new idea. Typing, typing, typing. Finally stop. Go to get something to eat. And all I'm thinking about is the next chapter. What to fix in the chapter I just wrote. Where to look for the next whatever story that I just read. And I was like, oh my goodness. I need to stop. No, I kept writing. And then I was like, okay, I'm done. And I was getting ready to write in my journal. And then, idea in my head, I gotta go fix something at the end of chapter 11. Crap. So I gotta open my laptop, turn it back on, and write some more. In all honesty, I could probably sit down and do more with chapter 12 right now too, but I'm like forcing myself to take a break. I'm like, I can't. I have to go to bed. I have to do other things. I can't just, I have to let it go. Um, but I don't know, it's fun for me when I do that. And it helps me to see that at some point in my future, obviously not the near future, but at some point when I actually start making money off of my writing and I don't have another job that I have to do, that I can actually spend my whole day or 8 hours of my day or whatever working on my writing because I can get that into my stories, which I was a little worried about because I was beta reading my friend's book today before I started working on my own writing, and I was getting into her story a little bit. The more I the more I get into her story, and I was like, oh, this story is like really drawing me in. I want to know what happens next. And then I started wondering, are my stories that good? Do my stories draw me in? And then I was thinking, well, I don't know, because I sent my book, Lenoya and the Teachers of Power, to like 10 people, and I've got 2 people that have responded back to me. One person that supposedly read it, but she still hasn't sent me her review, so I don't know what her edits or suggestions or anything are, because she still hasn't sent it to me, so that doesn't help me. So, so either people are just really busy, it's not the type of genre they like to read, or there's too many errors and things that distract from my story, which I would like to know what they are so that I can fix them. But so I was kind of having a little bit of self-doubt, and then of course I decided, well, maybe I'll start working on my own story and see how I feel about that. So I did start working on it. And then, of course, when I was looking for something for the next chapter or something that I'd written previously, like, 10 years ago, like I said, I pulled up that stuff. And even though that stuff is all messed up and needs to be rewritten and there's some stuff that jumps out at me I need to fix, I'm like, no, I'm not going to fix this because I'm not rewriting this part of the story. I'm going to stick it in the new stuff. Because I have several different versions and I'm like, I've started a brand new version, basically. Well, I guess I started a while back, but it doesn't have any of the old stuff in it unless I copy and paste the old stuff. It's all just the new stuff that I'm writing, and I'm just kind of using the old stuff as like an outline or a guide to follow the storyline. So but I have to go back and read the old stuff, and some of it's out of order. I have to get it from different chapters from what I'm thinking that I want because of how I'm rewriting the story. And it all works for the story. It's the same story, same plot line, basically. I'm just cutting and pasting and kind of rearranging the order because I'm not doing the same things. Trying to shrink the book instead of make the book longer, taking out other characters' points of view. So some things just don't mesh. So stuff, that was chapter 7 is no longer in the book at all. So, I'd have to have a whole brand new chapter 7. That's an example. I don't even know what I did with chapter 7. To be perfectly honest, I couldn't go back and tell you anymore. I really couldn't. I know I've taken out entire chapters. I know I'm still kind of floating around chapters 7 to 9 or 7 to 11. I was floating around chapter 7 to 11 in my old book, and I was doing chapters 9, 10, and 11 tonight and pulling stuff for chapter 12. So it's not like I've gotten too far to the end of the book. I'm not going crazy places with my story. I'm still pulling basically from the same plot line. It's just kind of the cut and paste thing. What am I keeping? What am I taking out? What's important to the story? What's not important to the story? But I found as I was reading through my old stuff that I was getting drawn into the story. And then I'd go back to try to write the story. And I'm like, wait, I got to remember this from the old story. And then I'd have to go back and try to find it because I didn't copy and paste it right away. And then I was writing it, and I fixed some stuff for chapter 11. I separated the stuff that I wanted for chapter 12 and figured, all right, I'm going to do this for chapter 12 tomorrow. Not going to let myself do chapter 12 tonight. I want to. I have all the ideas in my head. Not going to. Going to be difficult for me at this point. I'm hoping I can still sleep. But anyway, then I was getting ready to do this video, and I started thinking about my chapter 11, and then I realized that a lot of the stuff that I have in there, I'm like, it's not important to the story. It's important. Let me rephrase that just a little bit. It's not important to the current story character's perspective because it's foreshadowing, basically. It is important to the story as a whole. It is important as to what's going to happen in the future. But in the moment, in the story, where I'm at in the story, it's not pertinent to the story because the characters don't even understand what's going on. They don't understand why it's important, which obviously they're commenting at this point, like, we don't know why this is popping up. We don't know why this is important. And then I had the brilliant idea, or I'm sure the inspiration from God, to point out something, because I kind of pointed out something and then I kind of glazed over. I was like, no, I can go back to that part that I glossed over, and I can be like, I can use that because then it's something that makes sense to the characters in the book. They're like, that's something we can use. That's something that we can do, and they don't have to understand the rest of what's going on. But the rest of what's going on will affect the future, way far in the future. The conclusion of the entire series, well, not quite the conclusion, but it's a huge, long series plot storyline, and I don't want to give it all away in my videos. Okay, technically I do, and it would be like spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, because I like talking about my stories. I'm trying to refrain from sharing the plots of the stories. It's just that all of the books that I'm writing, they kind of all interconnect with each other, and they because of the powers that the people have in my stories, they can interact with other generations from future and past generations. And so there are several places in my stories, starting with the Fall of Espenglanja, and future ones like The Wise One, where there's interaction between the characters in both sets of books, both generations or time frames, even though they're not living in the same time frame in the books. There's lots of time between the two, but they overlap, and stuff that the characters in my book now do affect the ones in the characters in the future, and the stuff the characters in the future do affect the ones in the past, but not really. I mean, they do, and the fact that everything that happens in this book with our communications to the characters in the future decides what happens in the future, and then the character in the future, you kind of get to see how that character's responses or interactions actually changed her past, the other character's future, without realizing that's what she was doing. But the characters from the past knew that it was changing, but they were seeking that kind of change. They were hoping for it. They were actually hoping for a completely different change, but she helped them to come up with a compromise, basically. I think that's too much of a spoiler alert at this point. I apologize. Anyway, I think I was just doing too much foreshadowing in my book. I was giving away too much information that I realized is probably confusing to the reader, probably confusing to you listening to me trying to explain my thing without giving away what I'm doing, which is exactly what I was doing in the book. So I decided to take it out. I was like, I like it. It's really cool. But then I'm like, I can maybe use this from the other future characters' points of views in a future book. And that would be really cool, assuming I can remember where it is and what it is when I get to that future book. Because I'm pretty sure I need to write at least 10 books to get to that. At least 10 books to get to that. I'm not even sure. Maybe that's an exaggeration. Maybe I don't have to write that many books to get to that part of the story. But I don't know. I haven't got to that part of the story. I don't know how many books my series is going to take up. I can break them down or imagine them in my head, but then obviously when I write them, they always come out different. And that I ramble a lot. I think I do the same in my stories. Like I add all of that information. So it's difficult sometimes to, what my mentor says, you have to kill your little darlings. I don't like that phrase for writing. I think it's kind of creepy. I don't want to kill my darlings. But I do want to let go of things that aren't useful to the story, that don't help the plot progress, that kind of distract their side things. And I like my friend's story that she's writing, but sometimes some of the details that she puts in there, it kind of like, it kind of distracts from the rest of the story, from the plot. It's like, okay, I don't really care. Why are you sharing this with me? What does this have to do with the rest of the story? And then, occasionally she'll skip all of that detail. I was like, okay, it needs just a tiny bit more because now I got lost. I got lost somewhere. Anyway, but maybe that's just me. That's my perspective. Everyone has a different perspective. Everyone picks up on things differently. So maybe people are going to be reading my book and going, it needs more detail because I'm not describing the individual characters' facial features or looks or age or things like that. I'm just having the conversation and explaining what's going on in the kingdom. And that's the plot of the story. That's the interaction, the characters' interaction. That to me is more important than the descriptive stuff. Except I have to do more descriptive stuff with Lanoya because she has a power that requires her to see all that stuff. So then I have to make up all that stuff. I don't like to make up all that stuff. I'm kind of lazy. Anyway, so I don't know. I have no idea. But I was enjoying getting into my book today. And as I was writing in my journal tonight, it occurred to me that I have trained my brain to see the negative, which I don't like anymore. I'm trying to retrain it to see the positive, which is good. But I question myself and my abilities. And just like reading my friend's book and getting into her story, wondering if my story is any good because I'm not getting responses back or because I haven't managed to get myself published or all of those other random things that just kind of float out there that make me feel like I'm not good enough somehow. That old familiar, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. It's just not going to work. All the excuses that I make up to quit, to stop before I hit the finish line. And I didn't stop today. Like I said, I had to force myself to stop. And it was so funny because I'd stop and I'd get up and do other things. I'm like, oh, I'm so tired. I just need to write in my journal and go to bed. And then I start thinking about my story and all of a sudden I have energy and I'm like wide awake and I'm typing up in my laptop. And I'm like, how the heck did it get this late? Why am I still awake? And I'm wide awake doing that. As soon as I put it away, I'm like, oh, I'm so tired. I need to go to sleep. I don't feel hungry. I don't feel tired. I don't feel all of those other things when I'm working on my book. I just get engrossed in my book. And I hope that when I get it published, and yes, I'm saying when I get it published, that people, when they read it, will be as engrossed in my book and will get distracted by, my book and reading and will just, not want to do all those other things that I have a tendency not to do when I'm focused on my writing, my reading and my writing. I do that anytime I get into a book too. I just kind of ignore the fact that I'm hungry or have chores or work or whatever, and I just read. So I'm having to learn as an adult that I can't do that like I did as a kid. I can't just stay up all night and read books and miss school and do all that stuff because that doesn't work as an adult. I have to go to work. I have to pay the bills. I have to find the balance between writing and working so that I can still write and I can still work, I can still pay the bills, I can still get my responsibilities done, and I can still do stuff for other people. It's finding the balance. And that's hard to do when I haven't ever really had a balanced life, when I haven't ever had to do that. So it's learning how to be a little bit more responsible and balanced, and maybe just alternating what days I do things. I don't know how to do this. It's all it's new for me. It's difficult for me. I mean, I've had jobs where it's like, okay, you know what time you have to go to work to be consistent with that. But then it's like when I get home on whatever my other stuff is that I have to do, it's not always consistent. And when I change jobs or change hours that I work, then everything else that I do it doesn't naturally fall into place because I don't have a natural schedule for like when I read my scriptures and meditationals or write in my journal or any of those things. Because sometimes I've tried to write in my journal when I get up in the mornings because I'm too tired to do it at night, with my schedule, whatever. I don't know. And then that doesn't work because I don't really want to write in the morning, and then I just end up not writing in my journal. Or same with my scriptures and meditationals. I need to read them in the morning, and my job is too early, so I'll read them on my break, and then I take a nap, and then I'll read them before I go to bed, and then it just never happens. So I've had that with all different jobs. And then I'll get in the habit of doing it. I'll have my schedule, and then something in my life changes, my schedule changes, and all that stuff goes out the window, and I have to start all over again. And I was like, I need to learn how to not throw all that stuff out the window, because like my friend's telling me these are non-negotiable things. And she's right, they are non-negotiable things, because when I don't read my scriptures and meditationals, when I don't journal, I don't have that peace for my day from reading my scriptures and meditationals. And when I don't journal, I don't process, I don't let go, I don't figure things out. And then I end up holding on to things, and then I end up being miserable or not sleeping because I'm tossing and turning and thinking about my day because I didn't process it. I didn't figure it all out before I went to sleep. And then I wake up more tired and ornery and miserable, and it carries over, and it continues to carry over. And then that weight and that negativity just follows me everywhere, and it sucks. And then I get in the habit of reading my scriptures and meditationals and feeling lighter and better, and at least have a better attitude for the day. And then I start journaling and letting things go, and then I feel good, and then life happens and they start all over. One of these days I'd like to not start all over. I'd like to just stop stopping. That would be great. That would be great. So anyway, rambling about my writing. I apologize. I get off on random little tangents that seemingly don't mean anything, but hopefully they kind of connect. Makes me wonder if I don't have like ADD or ADHD or something. I've never been tested for any of that, so I think it runs in my family. I think I have some siblings that have it. They've been tested as adults. I've never bothered to get tested for it. No idea. Or I don't know if it's just because of the trauma in my life, or it's just because my brain works differently than other people's. I don't know. Never bothered to bug doctors enough to figure out what goes on with my brain. Just not a test. Any of them said, oh, you need to get tested for this. You need to get tested for that. But then again, I go and tell them I'm tired, and they run some tests like, oh, everything's normal. I'm like, then why am I tired all the time? Well, we don't know. Thanks. You're a lot of help. Love doctors, right? And I know I have friends who are like, you just haven't seen the right ones yet. So I'm like, probably. But right now I don't have the money, the energy, or the desire to figure it out. I'm surviving. I'm learning how to function. I'm learning how to deal with myself, process through things, figure things out, sort things out. And like I said, when I was writing in my journal tonight, I realized that, sorry, I was distracted because every time I hit my table, my phone moves. So I'm hoping this isn't jiggling my picture, making my face all dizzy, bouncy while you guys are watching me. Sorry for that too. Anyway, I'm realizing that I'm very critical of myself, and I need to be more gentle and loving with myself, and that my writing is actually really good if I'm getting drawn into my own writing and excited about it. So, and if I'm not getting responses back, I just need to send my book to different people, or maybe I need to go back through and reread and revise and read it out loud like my mentors told me to do in the past, and I just haven't, because maybe I'll catch something or figure something out to make it a little bit more interesting, or fix it on my own, because it's been a while since I've read my books. And then I can just find somebody to edit them, and then I can publish them, and hopefully each one will get a little bit better. And maybe as people start recognizing my books and reading my books, I can get some better readers that will give me some better feedback. I don't know. But I don't think my books or my writing style is horrible. I think it's actually pretty good. It's just a matter of finding my target audience and finding people that actually enjoy reading the genre in which that I am writing, because it doesn't do any good to send it to people that aren't interested in what I write. I tried that with my biological mother, and she was more interested in historical fiction and didn't really care for fantasy stuff, but she said she would try to read it. I don't think she ever did, or at least not all the way through. I don't know. Anyway, that's that's a long time ago too. That was my first attempts, and I keep trying to do it to like family and friends, and maybe I just need to put it out to other people. But right now, at least my friend that I'm beta reading her book is beta reading mine, so I know she's responding to my book. So yay, that's one more that I can get. And if I can get that one and my other friend that said she already read it and get her to do it, then I'll have at least 3 that have been sent back to me, that will be sent back to me, that I can look through. And I hope with just those 3, I can figure out how to fix Lenore and the Teachers of Powers and get it edited and published. And then I need to figure out what I'm doing with my other book, God's Hand in My Life. I need to have the courage to go back through and reread that and fix it, because I'm sure the first version is not the best, and it's not the one that's going to be published, obviously. So that's also something else I need to go back and revise. And then, of course, The Fall of Espionage. Once I finish rewriting it, I will get to send it out to beta readers, and I get to go back through it and reread it again for the umpteenth time, and hopefully not want to pull my hair out because of how many times I have written that book, especially chapter 1. I hate chapter 1 in that book. I hate it. Probably because I've written it like 20 times and it's been different every single time, and I still don't think it's a good chapter. I still don't know how to start this stupid book. So I'm ignoring the first chapter and I'm rewriting the rest of it, and hopefully that will work. And maybe I'll just delete the first chapter and start with chapter 2, and people will just have to deal with it. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I'm a little bit crazy. Maybe a lot crazy, but I was journaling tonight, and I was fretting about like all the writing that I was doing and wondering why I'm tired except for when I was writing. And then it occurred to me that maybe that was God's way of telling me that I needed to write today, that I needed to focus on my writing. I've been praying to focus on my writing. I've been doing these YouTube videos. That's my goal, and God is just answering my prayer, and that's what I need to focus on. That's what I need to do. And all the other things will take care of themselves. They'll fall into place as I do the things that I feel like I'm supposed to do. And the balance of things will come. My friend is very confident in me. She's like, oh yeah, you'll figure out the balance. It'll work out. Don't worry. And I'm like, I don't know what makes you think I'm so good and I'm going to figure all this out, because I feel like I'm a total mess and I can't do this. But I'm grateful for my little vision motivational board that reminds me that I can do this. For things that I find in my books, the little analogies, the connections to my own life, and realizing that my life, parallels in some ways my books, and in some ways it doesn't. And grateful to see the choices I've made in my life, and that because of the choices I made, or because of the things that have happened to me, it's forced me to go back to my writing, something that I have. Like, I've daydreamed these stories for years in my head, like over 20 years. I've been creating these stories in my head, but to finally be willing to write them down, to put them into story version, to actually have something that I'm passionate about and interested in, that I haven't lost passion about or interest in, because I don't think I've had a job that's lasted me more than 5 years. In fact, I've never hit the 5-year mark in any job that I have ever had, and I have had a lot of different jobs. Jack of all trades, I'm telling you, I know a little bit of everything. Not enough to be an expert on anything, but a little bit of everything. It will amaze you all the different things that I know how to do, or the different types of jobs that I have had. So I have quite a few qualifications and degrees, or started degrees that I never finished because I was curious about something and then got bored with it before I finished. So not good. I have a hard time sticking to something. I just can't seem to find something that holds my attention for that long. I get bored too easily, and I don't get bored when I'm writing. I get more story ideas. I'm always constantly daydreaming or making up something new in my head. Sometimes I replay the old stuff, but it always comes out different. It always comes out different when I write it too. But I'm grateful that I could write all of that stuff tonight, that I could see the changes, that I could see what was important and what wasn't important. And that was the point I was trying to make. It finally popped into my head again. that as I was journaling, I realized that the parallel for what I did today, that those things in my book that aren't important because they're more important to the future stories and not necessarily the past. They're more like foreshadowing. But in my life, it's letting go of those things or not putting them in the story just means that the story will flow better. It's not distracting from my story, and it makes for a better story. And in my life, I realized that there's a lot of things that I hold on to, past hurts, past pain, memories, things that I just keep drudging up. And I'm like, why do I keep drudging that up? It has no bearing on my current life other than it's stopping me from moving forward, from proceeding. Just like thinking, oh, my book's not good enough because people aren't reading. I'm like, that's not why people aren't reading my book. They're busy. They're crazy with their lives. They're doing their own thing. They're not into reading. They're not into that style. They don't have that time. They a gazillion different reasons. And I'm like, or maybe because they're just too close and they're afraid that, to hurt my feelings or something. And I'm like, please hurt my feelings. Tell me about my book. Tell me how I can fix it. Seriously, I don't know. But anyway, I'm grateful to see that parallel, to realize that there's a lot of things in my life that I need to just let go of because they're just getting in the way. They're not really pertinent to my story. They're not really pertinent to my life. They're not helping me progress in my life. Some of that would probably be playing games on my phone, which I probably need to stop doing. Same with watching TV, which I haven't done all week again. I did on Sunday, I think, but I don't think I've done it the rest of the week. Maybe I did it one other day. I was talking about doing it in a video. I don't remember. Anyway, it just kind of cut out because I'm like, I'm so tired by the end of the day, or I'm done doing all of this, and then I feel emotionally satisfied. And I think the reason I play games or watch TV is because I'm trying to fill a void, an emotional void, or because I'm trying to avoid doing what I'm supposed to get done. And if I get everything done on my to-do list, then I feel good about myself. I feel better. I feel confident. And then I no longer feel the need to seek out something else to make me feel better. I just I don't crave sweets anymore because I feel better about myself. I still crave them occasionally. But the better I feel about myself, the more I accomplish the goals that I've set for myself for the day, the less I crave sweets, the less I have interest in watching TV, the less I want to play my games, and the more focused I am on doing things like my writing and my goals. And then I'm like, oh, and then I don't beat myself up so much. And then I start feeling like, yay, I can actually do this. And then I also kind of freak myself out because, yay, I can actually do this. And I have no idea what this is. But I know that if I let go of the stuff that's not important, that's not pertinent to my story, then my story, my life flows better. And as it flows better, I feel more confident, and I open myself up to new possibilities. I open myself up to something different instead of looking to the past and saying, this is what my past experiences have been. So then I look to my future expecting it to repeat the past, expecting the same bad things or the same reactions, the same responses. So I think I seek out people that are going to respond the same way as people that did in the past instead of seeking out different responses. And right now I've managed to find some people in my life that have different, better responses, and I can keep looking at them like they're crazy people. Like, why do you have faith in me? What makes you think I can do this? And then, I had my friend that was like, hey, do a gratitude list. Gratitudes are great. This is awesome. You can do this. I can totally feel this shift. It's totally worth it. I was like, all right, I'll try it. And I tried it. And it's totally shifted me. And it's still continuing to shift me. And now I'm like, okay, I did that for 100 days. And probably the biggest thing I got out of doing that for 100 days wasn't like some big, huge aha moment. I think there was lots of little aha moments, little things I learned over that time period. So it wasn't like, yes, I hit 100 days and all of a sudden I'm a different person. I think I slowly made some changes over that period of time. Mostly, I think I just learned who I was over that period of time. And now with my writing, I feel like I'm discovering things to let go of. Things in my story that are no longer pertinent, apparently. And the writing is the process of feeling those things and letting them go, of seeing them in a different light, seeing them in a new light, instead of beating myself up because of the choices that I made or because the way other people reacted to the choices I made. I can look back with compassion and say, I made those choices because that's what I needed to do. And like I was talking to my friend today and talking about it, it's like that whole point is eventually that as I work through all of these things and those memories come up, eventually the emotion, the guilt, the pain, the whatever won't be associated with the memory, but the memory will be there that I can laugh at and remind myself that, hey, I did this stupid thing, so hopefully I don't do this stupid thing again. Or if I do this stupid thing again, I know what the consequences are going to be because I've done this stupid thing like 1,000 times, and one of these days I'm going to learn to stop doing it. I haven't figured out when I'm going to learn to stop doing that, but it's in there. Anyway, I'm grateful that I can learn to laugh at myself, that I can see these changes, that I can see stuff to let go of. And I think as I write, it's going to bring up stuff that I need to work through, stuff that I need to let go of, stuff that's holding me back, and stuff that's just not important anymore. It doesn't flow with my life. It's just interfering with the rest of my story. Just like my stuff, my foreshadowing that's too much, that the characters in my book don't understand, so the readers aren't going to understand. And it doesn't come into play until way further into the story. And there's no point for it where it's at. It doesn't fit. And I think I've spent a lot of my life trying to fit in places I don't fit. And instead of figuring out who I am and being who I am, I've tried to change who I am to fit in places I don't fit. And it doesn't work. I can't change my story to fit into something else because that's the way the story is. And I can't change myself to fit in with other people because this is who I am. But I can learn to get to know myself, and I can figure out where I do fit, and I can let go of things that don't fit in my life, that don't flow, that don't make me feel good about myself. I don't need the things that I regret. I don't need the things that make me feel bad about myself, that make me feel like I'm wasting my time, or I don't need that constant negative in my head going, you should have done this, should have done this, should have done that, should have this, should have this. Da, 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 da. I don't know, all that crazy stuff that goes in my head. It's all negative garbage that when it starts its little, I don't know, tantrum, flow, whatever, it gets going, its momentum of negativity, the rest of me just shuts down because I can't handle it. And then I just shut down and do absolutely nothing, which does not help being negative to myself. But when I can be positive and say, okay, well, my day didn't go the way that I thought it was going to, but I got into my friend's book. I learned about, liking getting into her book and thinking, I wonder, can I get into my book? And sure enough, I did get into my book. I think my book's pretty good. It's building my own confidence in my own writing, in my own abilities. It's shaking off that negative thinking that my book's not good enough, or that maybe people don't like my book and that's why they haven't responded. And I was like, that's not it. That's not it. And I can write in my journal and see that's not it. That's not it at all. And I can write in my journal and see that I need to let go of things that aren't flowing with my life because I don't have the time. If I keep adding stuff to do every 100 days or try to do new things for 100 days, I'm going to have to figure out a better schedule. I'm going to have to be more consistent with my schedule, which I'm not at all. And I'm going to have to find a balance. And that means I'm going to have to cut out stuff like my games that I don't want to because they just don't fit in my life. And they're taking up too much of my time. And I need to do other things that are more important to my life, that are more important to my story, that are more important to my progress in life. And I think up to this point, I think I've talked about my 12-step things where they talked about awareness, acceptance, and action. So now I'm getting to the awareness point. I am aware of all of these things, and it's cool to become aware of them. The only downside to becoming aware of that is that I need to start accepting that this is how things are going to work. And then I have to start making that action to make those changes, because changes are happening in my life, and they're good changes. They're changes I've been praying for. There have been changes I've been struggling to get. They've been changes I've been trying to make for years, and I just can't seem to get myself over that hump to do it. And for whatever reason, things are falling into place, and I am climbing that wall, climbing that mountain, I think knocking down the wall and climbing that mountain, that's probably a better analogy. But I'm getting over that hump, whatever it is, and it feels doable and it feels exciting and scary all at the same time. And I am sitting on that fence and I am torn, going teeter tottering back and forth between I want to see what happens in the next 90 days. I was going to say 100, but I'm on day 10, so I got 90 days. I want to see what happens with my writing in the next 90 days. I want to see what I can accomplish with my writing in the next 90 days. I want to know what I can learn about myself, what I can let go, what I can do in 90 days, because I am capable of more than I give myself credit for. I am doing things that I never thought that I was going to be able to do. And I mean, there are things I fantasized about, oh, I'm going to do this someday, but just never did it. And now I'm putting things in motion towards my goals, towards achieving my goals. And because I did my 100 days of gratitude, I know I can do my 100 days of writing. Like that knowledge is there now. It's not a question. There's no doubt in my mind that I can write for 100 days. And if I write for 100 days, I will finish The Fall of Esping London, because it's only 24 chapters I got to revise, and I'm already almost halfway there. I just did 11. I'm ready to start chapter 12. So I'm halfway through this book already, and I'm only 10 days into my writing. So I will finish that book, and who knows what I want to do with the other books that are already finished, if they can be revised, if they can be edited, if they can be published. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how many other books that I will write or finish in the next 90 days. I'm curious, but at the same time, I am petrified. I am terrified. I am on the other side of that teeter-totter, because it's all brand new. It's all different. And not that it's bad, it's stepping out into the unknown. And I don't know what's going to happen in the unknown. And I get excited about new things. And I like that I get excited about new things. And I like that I'm smiling and excited about it and feeling peace about it. But at the same time, I can look back in my past and be like, I've been excited about things before. And every time it's about to happen, it's about to come true, or I think that my dreams are coming true, someone else comes along and just pulls the rug out from underneath of me, and life happens and everything falls apart. And it doesn't work out the way that I thought it was going to. The difference, I think, right now is that I have a little bit more faith and trust in God. Not that I've never had faith in Him, I think I have most of my life. But at this point, I know it's not going to turn out the way that I think it will, because nothing turned out the way I thought it was going to for the 100 Days of Gratitude. I already thought I'd have a book or two published by now, and it hasn't happened. Thought that was going to happen in my 100 Days of Gratitude. And I didn't even work on my writing for 100 days. Well, I worked on it a little bit, but for most of that time I didn't. I got distracted by other things. So I don't know what the outcome of this 100 days is going to be, but I know it's going to be good for me, and I can look forward to it being good for me, and I can trust that I will learn what I need to learn in the next 90 days doing this process, and that it will inspire me to do another 100 days of something else, because again, I like seeing the change. I like feeling better about myself. I like accomplishing goals and feeling like, okay, I can actually do this, because I haven't felt like that for most of my life. I haven't felt like it was worth it. I haven't felt like I deserved it. I felt like if I succeeded, then someone else failed, and I was standing in their way, and someone else was always more important than me. And now somehow it's my turn. I don't know how. I don't know why. I don't understand it at all. But I'm excited and I'm scared, because like I said, it's different and I don't know the outcome, and that's scary. But it's a leap of faith I'm trying to take, and it's one you all get to watch me take, and we will see what happens in the next 100 days and figure out how successful I am. I know I will write for the next 100 days, or 90 days, I guess, because I got 90 days left to write. I know I will journal for the next 90 days. So I know those are things that I will continue to do. along with focusing on gratitude. Maybe not 100% focused on gratitude, but I will continue to see things to be grateful for because I don't want to lose that in the process of all of this. But I don't know what I'm going to accomplish or how much I will accomplish or where I will be 100 days from now. So, or 90 days from now. 90 days. I like that better than 100. I'm just so used to, I'm doing my 100 days of, but I'm 10 days in, so I have 90 left to go. So, not crunch time yet to finish something, and not that I have to crunch to finish anything. I just have to continue to work and then let God do the rest. Let Him do the miracle through me because I know He's going to make up for where I fall short and that things are all going to work out one way or the other. And maybe at the end of 90 days, I will figure out a balance and a schedule with work and writing and YouTubing and all of these things. Or maybe I will still be struggling to figure that out. I will still be struggling to figure out when I'm going to sleep and how I'm going to get stuff done. I don't know. But I'm not going to worry about it tonight. I need to go to bed. I'm tired and I'm rambling, and this video is turning out to be way longer than I anticipated. And I'm all over the place today. But I am grateful for all the writing that I did get done today and for the reading my friend's book that I got done. I only read 2 or 3 chapters at first, but then again, I wrote 3 chapters of my own. But I'm a slow reader, and I think I'm even slower when it comes to writing. So I should not be writing that many chapters in one day because it distracts me from all the other, it keeps me from getting all the other things done. Not that I minded today because it actually was nice to have the energy to write. And I didn't seem to have the energy to do anything else, so that must be what I needed to do today. And I'm grateful that I can see the positive side of that and not beat myself up for what's not been done. So that's something else. I'm being a little more gentle with myself. I am learning. I am changing. I am hopefully getting better. Anyway, if you hit like, subscribe, share with someone else if you think they'll enjoy this too. And thanks for coming on this journey with me. Have a great day.